You want a screen that won't make you stare at a blur of pixels after a long session, that feels solid enough to live with every day, and that actually earns the money you spend on it. The moment you start hunting for a gaming TV, the listings explode with 165 Hz, 0.03 milliseconds response, and OLED, all impressive on paper, but none of them answer the question of whether the TV will actually fit into your living room, your gaming schedule, and your budget. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What makes the decision tricky is that a lot of people jump on the hype of OLED because of the vivid colors, then discover that the TV they bought is a pain to set up with their console, or that the extra refresh rate never really shows up in the games they play. I've spent the last few weeks watching the same titles on a regular 4K TV, a mid-range LED gaming monitor, and then on the LG Ultragear 45-inch OLED. I wanted to see if the promises of no tearing, instant response, and cinematic immersion translate into something you can actually enjoy while you're on a marathon raid or just watching a movie after work. First off, the size. At 45 inches, you're sitting at the sweet spot between a traditional monitor and a full-size TV. For a desk setup, you'll need a sturdy stand or a wall mount that can handle the weight, but the screen isn't so huge that you'll have to crane your neck to see the edges. In my own setup, I placed it on a height-adjustable TV stand, and the tilt range let me line up the picture perfectly with my gaming chair. That's a practical win because you won't spend extra time fiddling with an awkward height. The OLED panel is where the magic really starts. The colors pop the way you'd expect from a premium TV: deep blacks, bright whites, and a rainbow of shades that make a fantasy landscape feel like you're standing inside it. In a fast-paced shooter, that means enemies are easier to spot against a truly black background, and in a narrative-driven RPG, the skies look almost photographic. The main practical benefit is reduced eye strain. OLED's ability to turn off individual pixels means the screen isn't constantly glowing at a high brightness, which helps during those long weekend sessions. Now, the 0.03 milliseconds gray-to-gray response time is advertised as instant. In real life, the difference shows up when you're moving the mouse quickly or when the game throws a lot of fast action at you. I tested a first-person shooter and a racing sim side by side with a 144 Hz LED monitor. On the LG, there was barely any ghosting. The car's motion stayed crisp even when I pushed the controller to the limit. That's not just a bragging right. It means you can trust that what you see is what you're doing, which matters in competitive play where a split-second lag can cost a win. Refresh rate is another area that often gets tossed around. The Ultragear can run at 165 Hz, which is higher than the 144 Hz you see on many gaming monitors. The real question is whether your hardware can push that many frames. If you have a top-tier graphics card, you'll see a smoother picture in titles that support higher refresh rates, especially in fast shooters where fluid motion makes aiming easier. If you're playing on a console or a mid-range PC that tops out around 60,100 frames per second, the extra headroom won't be fully utilized, but the TV still benefits from the higher refresh rate when you enable motion interpolation for movies or sports. Compatibility is a big selling point. LG built in both NVIDIA GSYNC and AMD FreeSync Premium Pro, so whether you're a GeForce or Radeon user, the TV should sync with your GPU without you having to buy an external module. In practice, I ran a game with GSYNC enabled and didn't notice any tearing, even when I deliberately forced the frame rate to fluctuate. The same held true with FreeSync on a Radeon card. The takeaway? You can connect your preferred hardware and the TV handles the handshake automatically, which saves you the headache of tweaking settings. So, who should really consider this piece of hardware? If you already own a high-end gaming PC and you want a display that doubles as a living room TV, this is a solid compromise. It gives you the picture quality you'd expect from a premium OLED TV, while still offering the high refresh rates and variable refresh sync that matter to serious gamers. It's also a good fit for people who do a mix of console gaming and media consumption, because the OLED looks gorgeous for movies and the low input lag won't ruin a fast-paced game. On the flip side, if you're a budget-conscious buyer who primarily plays on a console that tops out at 60 frames per second, you might be paying for features you'll never tap into. The 165 Hz capability and the 0.03 milliseconds response are overkill when the source can't supply that many frames. Likewise, if you're looking for a purely